Hi everyone, we are live. Thank you for joining. So we're here to talk about the 2025 tech trends, the skills to master and roles to watch. So welcome. I'll start off with a really scary opinion for you. The tech skills that most of us have today could be obsolete in 2.5 years. And I've always said that a career in IT is a lifelong commitment to learning, but it's never been more important to be regularly building skills to future-proof your career. So for the Tech Forecast 2025, we surveyed 3,000 executives, technologists, and experts to discover the top tech trends, the skills needed to stay ahead, and the secrets of success. So let's dig into what we found out. Firstly, only 12% of IT professionals felt that they had significant experience working with AI. Meanwhile, 95% of executives believe that AI initiatives are going to fail without staff who can effectively use the AI tools that we have available, meaning that there's an opportunity for those of us who are willing to learn. So when it comes to the top tech trends for 2025 and beyond, there's no surprise that AI continues to dominate across IT, with AI driving transformation across all tech domains and driving demand for AI-related skills. And we'll find out which particular skills to look out for in a moment. So AI is also helping to accelerate skills obsolescence. So this idea that many IT skills now have a very short shelf life, and just emphasizing the need for continuous learning and adaptability in order to stay relevant. So if you're somebody who loves to learn, then you are going to thrive in this environment. We also saw a big trend towards cross-disciplinary collaboration, with successful AI projects needing expertise across a wide range of domains, including AI, data management, cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, and change management as well. So really creating a high demand for people who are able to develop expertise in more than one area. So also allowing you to much more easily collaborate with different teams and different experts. Cloud infrastructure is going to continue to have a central role, with core cloud skills remaining vital, including the ability to design, to build, and support cloud-native systems, as well as multi-cloud and hybrid environments as well, with technologies like Kubernetes and Docker also continuing to dominate, as well as cybersecurity in an AI-driven world. And that's top of mind really for a lot of organizations, as the rise of AI-empowered threats like rears its ugly head. So there's a real need for skilled cybersecurity professionals to help organizations defend against these new threats. So what skills should we focus on in order to stay ahead? It's not all about AI, but there are a lot of new AI skills and new AI roles that we can all get on board with. But I don't think there's going to be any surprises here, really. So the first one is AI agents, which are, of course, used to build AI systems that can automate workflows and execute tasks on your behalf. So think about an agent that's able to rebook a cancelled flight or return a faulty item and arrange for a replacement. Agentic RAG combines this idea of an agent able to execute tasks with the ability to interact with your own custom data sources. For example, think about unstructured data like product documentation stored in the cloud. So allowing you to build powerful automated systems that are augmented with your custom data. Small language models as well, which require less compute power to operate. They can run on less powerful hardware, and they cost a lot less to build and maintain. So making AI much easier to run on smaller devices, costing less to build and maintain, and trained on smaller kind of domain-specific data sets. So really good for basic use cases. The next technology that came up a lot was LangChain. And if you haven't heard of LangChain, it's a Python framework used to build applications that interact with AI models and really helping to simplify the process of connecting data sources, remembering previous prompts, so conversation history, and also creating agents that can execute complex workflows. So LangChain, very interesting technology to get on board with. That's one thing I'm learning this year. And in addition to that, cloud-based AI services. So think about services like Amazon Bedrock, Google's Vertex AI, or Azure Cognitive Services as well. And also, if you're interested in DeepSeek, which came out this week, running that in your own cloud infrastructure, you can actually run your own DeepSeek model as a custom model in services like Amazon Bedrock or SageMaker as well. So these are really services that are going to be very popular across the coming months and years. Moving on to data science skills, there are three main areas in demand right now. The first is data hygiene and strategy. So think about the ability to clean, transform, recognize when your data is flawed or biased or incomplete. And data strategy being the ability to think long-term about our data, as well as considering the life cycle of our data. Data analytics, so the ability to understand how we can use our data to solve problems for customers and for ourselves internally, and thinking about what story does our data tell. And then finally, foundational skills like SQL. So SQL database skills still in high demand. So these might be skills that you learned many years ago, and these are having a super long shelf life, which is really good news. So great news for those of us who learned SQL many years ago, myself included. Happy to see those skills are still useful. Now, the rise of AI means that skilled cybersecurity and threat intelligence skills continue to be in high demand, particularly skills around protecting your large language models and foundation models from DDoS attacks, so denial of service attacks, addressing deep fake threats, that's difficult to say, and other new attack vectors, as well as preparing for post-quantum cryptography. So the use of cryptographic algorithms that are designed to be secure against a cryptographic attack by a quantum computer, so a super powerful computer. And cryptographers are at the moment designing new algorithms to help us all prepare for that day when the current algorithms that we use for cryptography are just too vulnerable to these quantum computing and attacks from supercomputers. And then finally, the use of AI to improve existing defenses. So AI augmented security, lots of opportunities there. So what about cloud native skills? Now, these are usually in the top 10 for the skills of the year. And there's no difference here really. So cloud infrastructure is vital, I think, for AI to be a success, because most of us don't have access to massive data centers filled with our own supercomputers. AI adoption is totally going to depend on cloud native skills as we lean into the services provided by all of the cloud providers. Multi-cloud expertise is going to be essential, with most of us operating in hybrid environments, as well as core skills like architecture and strategy, all the more important as environments become more and more complex. And DevOps and ML Ops. Now, DevOps isn't going away, but we also need to keep our eye on ML Ops, which is machine learning operations. And both of these techniques provide ways of automating and de-risking change in our environments. So really, really important going forward. Now, when it comes to programming, it's no surprises that Python came out on top as one of the most in-demand skills for 2025. And I always think of Python as the programming language of the cloud, but it's also a really good programming language for data science as well, with lots of cool libraries enabling you to manipulate your data and analyze it and visualize it as well. LangChain we already talked about, and if you're a Python coder, LangChain is a great framework to know about to help you quickly and efficiently develop AI applications. Kubernetes and Docker, essential for application scalability and portability. And we also found this year the increasing need for developers to master AI coding assistance. So think about technologies like GitHub Copilot or Amazon Q. More and more developers getting on board with those. But just remember, when you're using them, you want to keep in mind quality assurance and critical thinking to ensure that the AI generated code is actually fit for purpose. So you want to be able to review that code and have that real critical thinking hat on when you're consuming the results of these AI coding assistants. Not forgetting there's going to be loads of new opportunities in ethical and responsible AI. So think ethical AI adoption and sustainability practices, cost optimization, the ability to evaluate AI systems, recognizing and addressing bias and hallucination, understanding our regulatory requirements, and requirements around data privacy and preventing data leakage as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of new opportunities here that we can take advantage of. But let's not forget the soft skills, so the human-centric skills. In a world where many of us might be concerned about being replaced by an over-enthusiastic machine, soft skills and human-centric skills have never been more relevant. And I'm talking about problem solving, critical thinking, empathy and communication, leadership and stakeholder management, and adaptability and flexibility. And I think really that ability to be able to be flexible and embrace change, learn new things, is going to be highly important for all of us as we move into this next phase of AI transformation. So the secret sauce that we've identified that all successful companies have in common, firstly, are a strategic plan focused on customer outcomes. So defining business goals and the problems that you want to solve using the technology, and not really using technology for the sake of it, thinking about the problems that we actually want to solve and falling in love with those problems and finding ways to use the technology to actually solve those problems. So this should really be the North Star for technical decisions. For instance, coming to decide which cloud provider to use, which service to use for a particular project, really thinking about the business outcomes that we're looking for and the customer outcomes that we're looking for. And then combining that, in order to make great technical decisions, organizations who want to stay on top are going to need a comprehensive plan for upskilling across the organization. So if you are a leader or a mentor or a senior engineer, my challenge for you is to make it your mission to identify your future superstars within your own organization. So think about who in your organization is your next data analysis expert, Python genius, or security specialist. And create development objectives, mentorship programs, and introduce protected learning time to give them time to upskill. And also incentivize your people so that they're encouraged to develop the expertise that you're looking for in your organization. And if you're an individual contributor like me, then think about which skills that we've been talking about today, which of those sound most appealing and exciting for you. And finally, my takeaways are that we are living in a rapidly evolving world. No surprises there. Adaptability and flexibility are going to be essential for all of us moving forward as AI continues to dominate and create new opportunities for those of us who are ready to learn. Not forgetting that core skills are still going to be key. So key skills in cloud, security, data skills, programming skills still very high up on the agenda for lots of organizations, as well as the human-centric skills that set us apart from the machines. So that is it from me. That's our really quick run through of everything we found in our tech survey. And now I think we got some time for questions. So I'm just going to check our chat for the first questions. Okay, my first question that's come through. Thank you. What are some of the top Microsoft AI technologies that are going to be in demand in 2025? Well, that's a really good question. I think that we actually have some great courses relating to those. I would say if you're interested in Microsoft and Azure, personally, my own specialty is AWS, so I have to look at my notes when I'm talking about Microsoft technologies. My first stop would be to look at the Certified Azure AI Engineer Associate certification, and I would learn everything that they're suggesting in there. And really just take a look at their, basically just take a look at all of their generative AI solutions. That would be my particular recommendation. Let's take a look at the next question. Can I describe what hallucination means in this context? Yep, absolutely. So if you think about the way that these large language models and AI models have been trained, they've been trained in the beginning on unstructured data that's available on the internet. And that means that they don't always have the information relating to very specific domains. And if you think about, for example, the healthcare domain, you could ask a large language model like ChatGPT information about a very specific healthcare problem or medical problem, and it's going to give you an answer based on the information that it's found in its training data. Now, if it doesn't know the answer, if it doesn't directly have that answer in its training data, a lot of these models are incentivized to give you a coherent answer that actually makes sense to us, that we can understand using language that we understand. So it's more incentivized to actually give you an answer than to give you a factually correct answer. So you can sometimes end up with an answer that's been generated, inferred, assumed, hallucinated, and presented to you as a fact. And that's really what a hallucination is when it actually presents to you information that it's actually generated and it's inferred and it's presenting it to you as fact. And if you think about, I'm sure that we all know people in our lives that you go to them and you ask them a question and they don't know the answer, but they give you the answer that they think is right, and they confidently give you that answer as though it was a fact, a proven fact, when actually it was just their opinion, or it was their incomplete understanding of the concept, but they're telling you the answer like it's a fact. It's similar to that kind of concept. Instead, what we really want is, if the machine learning algorithm doesn't have the facts to hand, we want it to say, I don't know, I don't have that information, instead of making up an answer. So that's hallucinations. Okay, next question. What are some of the top uses of Python that you see in demand? This is a really cool question. I think Python for me really is the programming language of the cloud, and it's a very versatile programming language. It's really, really easy to get started with. It's got lots of cool libraries for data science. If you are interested in learning more about Python, we have loads of courses on it. I also have some book recommendations, so contact me afterwards and I will give you, I don't have them to hand right now, but I will find my book recommendations for you, because I've been learning Python. It's always top of my list to learn every year. Yeah, lots of different libraries for data science. So lots of people using it for analyzing their data, visualizing their data, because there's lots of cool libraries that you can bring in that are going to help you with like understanding the problems that your data solves. And if you think about right now, data is one of the most valuable assets that we have, really helping us to solve problems for our customers. So yeah, you can easily use Python to write applications that interact with machine learning algorithms. So I would say, if you haven't used Python before, definitely have a little play with Python and see how cool it is, and I'm sure you will find lots of different use cases for it. Okay, next question. Faye, don't you think that developing soft skills and critical thinking is more important than ever before, having in mind current co-pilot's capabilities? Yes, I do think that, actually. I think that having the ability to use your critical thinking when seeing and evaluating the output that you get from any of these large language models, be it a co-pilot helping you with coding, or helping you with your support and analysis work, troubleshooting, or helping you to understand a concept, question on answer, that kind of thing. I think having critical thinking is going to be really important, because who believes everything that they see on the internet? Nobody. And we want to use those same critical thinking kind of capability when we're interacting with large language models, because they're trained on the internet, right? And it is software, and it has got inbuilt biases and social inequity and assumptions built into the software. So we need to definitely keep our critical thinking, something that we're using all the time. Developing soft skills, yes, I think that's the thing that sets us apart from the machines. And I think that in coming times, the people that we deal with in business are going to appreciate dealing with real people and not dealing with machines, because we all know how annoying it is when we have to deal with a chatbot that isn't up to scratch. So let's all lean into developing our soft skills, our communication, our empathy, and everything that keeps us human. Yeah, I think that will help to set us apart from the competition, be that other humans or the machines. Okay, how do I start my coding journey? Is Python the best place to start? Personally, I think it is a good place to start. If you've never done any coding before, I would start with like a foundational course in Python, and see how easy it is to kind of get started. And I do have some tutorials on my blog. You can take a look at those. If you're not ready to do a complete course, I have some Python tutorials on my course that on my blog that if you have an AWS account, you can easily use. I personally think that is a really good place to start, because Python's going to be around for a very long time. So yeah, I would challenge you to give it a go this year. Do we have any other questions? Oh yeah, there's one down here. Which skills are important for web developers to stay relevant in the era of AI? I really think that when it comes to this idea of like web developers and front-end developers and back-end developers, I think actually that we're all just developers, right? So I still think that it's everything that we talked about today, understanding the core cloud skills, understanding how to build applications in the cloud, understanding how to get on board with some of the new technologies like Python and LangChain, understanding where data comes in, and really, I think understanding a little bit about all of these things is going to help us all stay relevant. And then just diving into the things that are really interesting to you. So yeah, that's the way I see it really. Last question: will Snowflake be a technology worth leaning into in 2025? Maybe. I think if that's something that you're seeing, within your organization, I think yes. Um, for me personally, it's not something that I'm looking for in 2025, but I feel like I follow what I see is important in the industry within where I work. So I haven't seen a lot of mention of it. But if you are seeing that in your industry, then yeah, I would go with it. And if it's interesting to you, I would say definitely go with it, because whatever is interesting to you is the thing that's not going to feel like work anymore, right? Because it's hard work learning new things, isn't it? So I think if that's something that's interesting to you, then I would definitely lean into it this year. Okay, well, resources for everything that we've mentioned are below in the description. And look out for an email to come from Pluralsight with more resources as well. And this is also going to be available to watch offline too. So I think that's it from me. Thank you, everybody, for all your intelligent questions. Thank you for joining. Thank you for participating. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.